a friend of mine said, "Do you know how much you are loved?" Just the other day, out of the blue, she says, "Do you know how much you're loved?" And if we think about that, we get to start with ourselves first, and then we get to surround ourselves with people who love us, that set us free. And the other day, a couple days ago, I was just feeling such fulfillment. Had this moment of, I was looking at the clouds that were across the moon, and I had such a sense of fulfillment. And to bring that into this week as we move forward in our life, we take that with us. We take the love that sets us free. We take that sense of freedom as we sow seeds of freedom this month. That's what we're up to this month. And today is the best day ever. It really is. It is the best day ever. It is, believe me. You ready? You ready for that? And it was Henry Guest who said that if plan A fails, you still have 25 letters left. So I'm trusting that there's a divine pattern, not even just a plan, which might be confining. It might be a divine pattern which is unfolding, and to know that that's moving forward in graciousness and with a sense of humor and some lightness. And even though I'm a creative speller, I do know that there's 25 letters left in the alphabet, right? And I saw Mission Impossible, and it was on opening day. Who knew that there was an opening up in my awareness on opening day? I thought, as I walked out of the movie, I can do anything. I can be and do and have absolutely anything. And that movie was just so empowering. I thought, well, as the IMF agent Benji Dunn said, I'm formulating plan B as he's looking at this plane taking off with all the stuff that Tom Cruise, Ethan Hunt, is supposed to rescue, and to not have it go to this syndicate of people who have gone bad or gone wild. And what Mr. Dunn said is that, I'm formulating plan B, and I'm also working on plan C. And so as that's taking off, what he's doing is he's knowing that there's something that's going to be happening, and that he's trusting that there's this international syndicate of people that they can have a sense of resolution or a different solution and be reeled back in because they had gone rogue. That's the name of the movie. It's the 6th in the series of Mission Impossible, and they've gone rogue. And so here was Mr. Dunn saying, I'm working on a plan. And he had like this calm confidence about him, and he was just poised to know that things were happening. So Tom Cruise plays Ethan Hunt, and he, after flying on the side of this plane as he's taking off, and he's kind of holding on to this plane, and he's flailing and saying, open the door, open the door. He was just knowing that there was going to be an opening of the door. And then there were a whole bunch of humorous action scenes and kind of a little romantic interest, and there was all this action that was happening. And what he, too, was doing is he was knowing that even after a near-death experience, and I'm not going to tip you off on how it all ends, but even after a near-death experience, this movie had like everything in it, and I walked out of it saying, I can be anything. I can do anything. I can have anything. I'm all fired up to do that. And it really applied when I had some laptop challenges with the new Windows 10, that operating system. So Mission Impossible became Mission Possible as I called on my Geek Squad friends and said, boy, can you get my printer drivers back and all this kind of stuff. And so I kept thinking of Tom Cruise and how he had stopped breathing at one point, and he had to go underneath to this secure server and get the secret that had to be unlocked. So here I am with the Geek Squad thinking I'm unlocking these treasures for my life, because there is a lot that goes on there. So I, too, had to have the trust of sort of hanging on and trusting that things were happening. So are there any situations in our life where we might be holding our breath or hanging on or need to go deeper, hopefully not into a chute of water where we get to, climb up, hold our breath? Are there some situations? Well, and what we have here is that we just read in our community is we have a plan. We have that divine pattern which is unfolding. Our purpose is love and oneness. And our topic today is our mission statement, which is love and abundance and appreciation. So we're moving even deeper and carrying that forward with us, and knowing that we're holding on to spirit, that there is that divinity, that divine center that is within us, that we can trust and know that it has its own navigation, and that it has its own way of breathing and acting in our life. So in this co-creation process that we did as a community, we expressed our views, we expressed our values, and we honed that in, we fine-tuned it, knowing that much like there's spirit driving that plane, no matter what we're holding on to or what we want to let go, that it becomes more mission possible, right? As we become more spirit-centered, we become more mission possible, that we are having a unified voice, have that unified voice and have that recognition of that unifying presence that's within us, and that there's a genuine call that comes straight from our heart. To be at that genuine call and just trusting, no matter if I have to rely on the Geek Squad or if I walk out of a movie with that full confidence, I am absolutely experiencing the fullness of whatever's going on. I'm experiencing the fullness when I get to go sit in a waiting room, or I'm experiencing the fullness of life when I have a conversation and listen even deeper, or knowing that I need to trust that I won't be on hold on customer service for my laptop for 2 hours, or use that time to the best that I can, and go wireless. Sometimes you have to be offline and go wireless and get other stuff done while things are happening. So I think quality of life, even while I was hanging on, knowing that there was that secret at the bottom of whatever that laptop is, or as I was following Ethan Hunt and his humorous adventures, there is that quality of life. And do we all have some sort of challenges in our quality of life? We all want to have a great and a high quality of life, right? Yes? Any takers for a high quality of life? Yeah. Whether that's turning around our body, whether that's up-leveling our finances, whether that's transforming our relationships, we can just be fulfilled, have those moments of fulfillment at a new level. We can not be stuck, and we can, no matter we have this idea of how it's supposed to be, that whatever we're not supposed to be doing, whatever we want to do, or maybe we have an emotional pattern which we might be miffed, we might be frustrated, we might be worried, we might be sad, we might be overwhelmed, we might be underwhelmed. Wouldn't it be nice to be underwhelmed sometimes? So sometimes we have habits of being in a certain way. And what we do is we get to release the tension from our intention. And we just read a bunch of our intentions. And we get to dissolve and evaporate and know that whatever the tension is being released from our intention. And motivational leader Tony Robbins reminds us that what a breakthrough is a moment in time where there's an opening. And much like when we were waiting for Ethan Hunt to open the door, and it could be that we're saying that about some of the things in our lives. We know that there's an opening. We have those moments of opening up, like having that realization that, wow, I'm loved, or, ooh, I'm fulfilled, I'm complete, I'm whole, I'm well. It's a total joy. And whether that comes from an insight, whether that comes from a conversation, whether it comes from watching a movie, whether we're moved at whatever specific moment that is, and to have that recollection and a remembrance of who we truly are. It comes and there's something that clicks, something that is turned around inside of us, and it has us look at our life in a certain way. It has us look at our life from a place of newness. And it has us move from that mission impossible, or that belief in whatever's impossible, to something that it is possible, and that there's that power of possibility. And that we get to start to trust Spirit more and more, that those solutions are readily within us. And so what I know is that as we release the tension from our intention, that the stress really doesn't come from the facts, but it comes from the meaning that we give to the facts. So yes, things have happened. We get to choose how we're being. We get to choose to be in a different way. We get to choose the way that we add meaning to what's going on in our lives, to what's happened, and what we're transforming. So we can take a look at things from a new perspective. We don't necessarily have to fly up toward the satellites like Tom Cruise, but we can look from a new perspective and know that there's that single force, or that sense of love and oneness, that unified field, that one voice that is speaking through us, and that we can choose. We have that power of choice. And with that power of choice, there's 3 things. Just 3. You ready for just 3? Less than a handful of things. We can choose what to focus on, right? We can choose what things mean. And we can choose what to do. Those 3 things. We get to focus. We get to choose what things mean, to reframe or put a different perspective on it, to have a sense of newness about something that may be old or some pattern which we would like to dissolve. So it's not so much that the conditions fulfill our lives, but it's that the fulfillment is already within us, right? Yeah, so I see some head nods. And so it's those decisions, it's those choices. And if we think a moment, just think a moment. Do you have a moment? Yeah? Think a moment about our life. And are there a couple decisions that we've made where we would have a totally different life? Yeah? Yeah. And it could be a good thing. Oh, I didn't decide to do that. Or yes, I decided to do that and I learned from it. And we can see how our life would have been different today. So we've already experienced that power of choice of what we can focus on, what we can give meaning to, what new actions we can take. It could be we walk into a cafe and there's that love of our life. Who knew? At Satellite or Flying Star, who knew that there would be that connection? My friend Rich, who was my husband, we kept showing up in the same social circles, and we had done some volunteer work with Marianne Williamson, and we were like the couple that would come in and be of beneficial presence for the families and who were experiencing life-challenging illnesses. And we just kept showing up at the same parties. So there we were on the pool party, partying, and then I knew his sister and then his friend and all this kind of thing. So 21 years later, it's great, and we're still friends, and he still advises me, like when my laptop does things, or what phone to buy and that sort of thing. So using that as an example, you never know when you show up at a party what's going to happen 21 years later. And to have it be a good thing, and to know that there's that experiences, all those wonderful experiences that I bring forward here today, and to know that there's that meaning that I give to that relationship, and that there's new actions that I can take. So when we meet someone, when maybe we decide to be a photographer, maybe we decide to be an artist or an engineer, or maybe we decide to do some savor or selfless service, or maybe we decide to be the best grandparent or the best mom or the best dad ever. Maybe we make those decisions. And we make those decisions knowing what life is really about. And perhaps we each have our own take on what love and oneness is. We have our own take on what love and abundance and appreciation is. And as we know that decisions equal our destiny, that we can remove that tension from our intention and have those decisions about what we focus on, we're really going to feel, right? So our decisions equal our destiny. And so if we want to have a new life, we get to make new choices. We get to feel a little bit different. We get to act in a way. Maybe it's from a new sense of wellness. Maybe it's from that place where we're feeling sufficient. Or we begin to notice the synchronicities in our life. That it's nothing really by accident, but there's those synchronicities that happen, and we notice those divine patterns that are unfolding. And knowing that we have the choice. So if we want a new life, we get to focus on something new. We get to have meaning in our life, and we get to have those actions because of maybe plan A, where we may have 25 letters left in the alphabet, right? So we have these capabilities. And so, for instance, if we decide that, people don't really care, guess what shows up in our life? is people don't care. Or maybe we decide that, yes, I feel loved, or yes, I feel fulfilled, and I become conscious of what things mean. You know, instead of being on autopilot, and I'm certain when Ethan Hunt was hanging off that plane, it was noticeable that he was hanging on, and so he got to have the whole brand new thing happen where he was transforming that situation and protecting a lot of folk. We get to experience that place where we focus and add meaning and make choices. I used to flip houses for fun. And so we'd pick up a house, for fun, pick up a house and with some friends, and so we'd turn them over, gussy them up, and turn them over, and so a little bit of construction talk. And we had one gentleman who was helping us, but he wasn't so helpful. And so, and it was for a number of people, and so we got to remedy the situation and be more of an advocate and help prevent bad things from happening to good people, in essence. And so we got to do things differently. We got to focus on what was not working, and then to assign meaning to that is, no, we don't want to be doing that with him, right? And then what we've got to do is advocate for other people. And so at that time, I made a conscious choice, and then I got some education, and I kind of do the extra mile kind of thing. And what's really interesting is I used those skills that I had from that situation where we'd been an advocate and had gone all up to the state level. We're in kind of a video kind of thing with the all fancy kind of stuff. But we felt good about being of service to other people. And so I used those skills the other day. A friend of mine needed a memorandum of understanding because there were people that wanted to be brought together. And I said, oh yeah, I can do that, and got it to him within the hour, just like this one page kind of thing. But to know that no matter what the experience is in our life, we can draw upon that experience and map that over to another situation which is beneficial, right? Have you ever had that situation where you had something that had gone rogue, like the Mission Impossible, something that had gone pretty rogue or wild, but yet we can use those strengths and those gifts, whether it's regarding our health, whether it's regarding our knowledge, our wisdom about our finances, whether it's regarding our relationships, and to know that we can have a different shift or a different meaning that we assign to that, right? So we decide on what to focus on. We decide what things mean. We decide what are we going to do. And if someone, what if someone has a health condition? We may be with that person, they may say, well, why me? Or what approach can I take? Or what's available? Maybe I'll get a second opinion. Or maybe a different ultrasound, or whatever those solutions are. If we were Lance Armstrong, he gave focus. He gave meaning. He also chose to ride in the Tour de France. That's happening this summer too, right? In addition to baseball, right? So he chose to focus and to be more of a hero. He decided what to do and to have his own breakthrough. He got to have his own breakthrough, no matter what his condition. He didn't look to the condition to provide the breakthrough. What he got to do was look to what a new focus would be. He got to focus and say, yes, I'm well. Yes, I can do this. Yes, I can be healthy. I can be wise. I can make those best decisions. I can have a new approach. So we're having a new approach with that sacred covenant in our lives as we have that in our daily practice. We're having that with grace, with the graciousness, with the bold decisions that we're making in our life, that we may not just simply be hanging on to whatever that train is already out there or that plane is already out there, but we're allowing ourselves to be loved. We're allowing ourselves to be abundant. We're allowing and accepting the fulfillment that's already here for us. And we can look at our views and we can look at our values in order to establish that center of divinity that is within us that is purposeful. We can have that recognition and that one voice and that unified voice that's in our life, and to listen to that place. And in this now moment, we can focus. We can have it be meaningful. And we can have that inspired action take place. And much like Mother Teresa, who said, the unadulterated love, like unconditional love, the unadulterated or that pure love of one person can nullify the hatred of millions. We can be of this one love. We can be of love. We can be of oneness. Isn't that powerful? Yeah, and to know that there is the powerful of the divine nature that comes well equipped and has the capacity, has the ability to meet no matter what condition there is. We can meet that with focus. And years ago I took the S training, and I had heard Terry Cole Whitaker, I had heard Dr. Peggy Bassett, leaders in the New Thought movement, and Wayne Dyer, and Ram Dass, and Deepak Chopra and Oprah. And it transformed the way that I thought. It transformed what I thought life was about. And remember I said today is the best day ever. That we can transform, have that transformation take place about what our life is about, and have that new perspective, to have that focus. And I was really in the right place at the right time when I heard Warner Earhart talk with Buckminster Fuller. And Buckminster Fuller is on the leading edge as far as how consciousness creates. And what grew out of that was I did some work with nonprofits, and I realized that there's an incredible bounty that's ever available, and it does show up as love and abundance, and I appreciate that. That's how it just shows up. And to take that inspiration to heart, and to take it from a place of sufficiency. And so when I look at my life as being sufficient, as being whole and complete, as our founder, Dr. Ernest Holmes, of the Science of Mind and Spirit, which is a guide for spiritual living, he too talks about sufficiency. And as we have that as our context, sufficiency in love, sufficiency in the wellness that we have, sufficiency in our economic situations, and knowing that we're provided for, that there's absolutely enough everywhere and for everyone, that we are creating a world that works for everyone, that we are awakening in our magnificence, that we focus and we give meaning and we take action. And so from this world of a place of sufficiency, it's a paradigm shift. We get to shift gears, much like a lot of us did to get here right now. We have that gear shift, we have that awareness shift. And Lynn Twist, who's the founder of the Soul of Money Institute, she writes about sufficiency. And she had some divine inspirations and some places in the center of her being that were called upon to be of a greater service to awakening the magnificence in our world. And like her, I believe that our current culture lives in a world of scarcity. Scarcity. And what she believes in is that there's 3 toxic myths that are current in our culture. Number 1 is she invites us to move forward in a context of sufficiency because there's 3 myths. 1 is that there's not enough. Can you think of a situation where there's not enough? Maybe I haven't been to the gym and I need to start hanging around people who are going to the gym. There's not enough. Maybe not enough time, not enough energy, not enough whatever that is. I want to begin to align myself with those people who are out there, and whether it's walking in the wilderness or stretching, whatever that stretch is. So there's a myth that there's not enough. There's another myth that more is better, that we get to consume and accumulate, and rather than allocate our time, our treasure, our talent, rather than allocate, we get to accumulate, and sometimes it gets to be too much and out of balance, right? So that more is better is another one of those myths. And number 3, maybe the most apathetic, is that that's just the way that it is. Just the way that it is. Like this. Just the way that it is. And just the way that it is, it's really the worst one because it holds us back here. It holds us right here in this place, rather than allowing us to move forward in that total love, that unconditional love and abundance and appreciation for who we are and the fulfillment right now. And so it's a little bit of a radical idea, a radical truth, not just an idea, but the truth with a capital T, that yes, we are sufficient, that we come well-equipped as a complete package of wholeness and well-being that shows up in a healthy and productive and creative and fulfilled and resourceful life. sufficiency. As we take that into our area of health, knowing that our bodies are sufficient, it comes as this complete package, knowing that our resources that we're tapped into already. And back to Buckminster Fuller. He says that we're moving from a you or me, so it's you or me, or with a big or in the middle. Not like an oar in the water where we're all rowing in the same direction. O-R. See, I told you I was a creative speller with those 25 letters, right? So it's not a you or me in the way that we understand the world, but it's a you and me, that we're all part of this collective consciousness, that we have this understanding that we're not making it, in essence, making it at the expense of anything or anyone. There's no expense. There's just that we're all resourceful and sufficient and whole, and that wholeness and oneness and being provided for, that all our needs are met, that all that we need comes to us. All that I need comes to me, that there is that place where there's loving people, where there's sufficient finances, where there's the health which just radiates as this vibrant place in this total place of joy and fulfillment. And when I was in LA, remember I mentioned some nonprofit work I'd done some work with one of our clients was the Philanthropic Foundation. And philanthropic means the love of humankind. So imagine if we just went all around and just loved our divine nature. We loved our human nature. We love humankind. And it doesn't necessarily have to do with wealth, but it has to do with just who we are and that love, and that I believe everyone is a philanthropist. And so what I'm understanding is that in sufficiency, everyone thrives. And that's part of our intention. And that as we reduce and release that stress, as we focus and add meaning and have action, inspired action, we are thriving. And that we release that tension from our intention. So we can go forward today and declare that we are sufficient. We have the sufficiency. We are enough. We truly are enough. And the great philosopher Ferris Bueller, he says that life moves pretty fast. If you don't stop to look around much a while, you might miss it. So I don't want any of us to miss out on what our notion of sufficiency is, and to know that we are absolutely provided for. We have that sense of freedom, knowing that this month we're sowing those seeds, and that love sets us free. So I invite us to go ahead and turn within, and just to have this knowingness and have it be our livingness. And so I invite us to turn within for this very moment, this now moment of stillness, and knowing that in this stillness there are all of the answers. That there's this beautiful focus on the infinite, that there is the divine center, the divine nature, which is everywhere and within everyone. And that, yes, it is enough, it is sufficient, it is all that there is, it is the allness, it is the divine, which is ever available and accessible, and just allowing and setting free that sense of freedom with joy and peacefulness and love being the givingness of the nature of spirit of the creation itself. And that in this creation there is the creativity, there is the unified field of the one voice, of the knowingness, of the listening presence, and just allowing the power and presence to be who we truly are, knowing that we are truly connected in the oneness and with love and abundance and fullness of appreciation. There is that which I am grateful for and thank-filled and joyful. And so I know it shows up as wellness and well-being. It shows up as this divine connection and this wonderful thing called life. And it shows up in the infinite flow, knowing that all of the resources are in the free-flowing good, and that I am a part of the whole, and that being an integral part of the whole, there is this place of love, which just shines and shares of itself so naturally and freely and sets us free. So I claim and know that there is this positive, pure potentiality and possibility showing up in this thing called life for each and every one of us. And I'm grateful and joy-filled. And I release this word into the action of the divine law, knowing that it is complete, it is whole, it is well, and filled with joy. And so be it, and so it is.